to the Honorable Lead Chairperson, Congressman Robert A. Barbers, the co-chairpersons, Honorable Dan Fernandez, Honorable Benvenido M. Abante Jr., and Honorable Joseph Stephen Paduano, as well as the honorable members of all the committees comprising the Quad Committee. Good evening. I am Arvin Dexter M. Lopos, a litigation lawyer from Davao de Oro and Davao City for almost 24 years already. I am the managing partner of LFA Law Offices, or the Lopos, Fuentes Lopos and Associates Law Offices based in Davao City. I am also the spokesperson of the Union of People's Lawyers in Mindanao, UPLM, and the national auditor of the National Union of People's Lawyers, NUPL. I am also an active member of FLAG. Our chairperson is here, Attorney Chel Jokno. And also a proud member of Bakbayan Citizens Action Party, Honorable Sandanya. The past administration's drug war killings, are specifically extrajudicial killings, not only targeted petty drug users and pushers, just like what was discussed by Attorney Colmenares, but the summary killings in the name of said drug war transcended into the extrajudicial killings of lawyers who handled criminal defense in drugs cases, as enumerated in the presentation of Attorney Colmenares. Worse, with the daily murders related to the drug war, unscrupulous individuals started hiring hitmen or assassins to settle scores or resolve conflicts through the barrel of the gun. Otherwise stated, the breakdown in law and order brought about by the daily murders and non-laban stories arising out of police operations in the name of the drug war led to the unprecedented murder of lawyers, fiscals, and judges across the country during the 6 years of the past administration. I say unprecedented because although the drug war deaths of mostly men out of urban poor areas are equally important, the scale of the violence is unimaginable based on the official data from the Integrated Bar of the Philippines. According to the IBP, since the year 1972, up to the end of the past administration's term, there had been 133 lawyers murdered by reason of their sworn duties as officers of the court. But, and this is a big but, during the 6 years of the past administration, if we go by the numbers provided by NUPL, 59 lawyers were killed under the Duterte administration. If we go by the numbers of FLAG, 61 was the number of lawyers killed, while the IBP official list stands at 63 lawyers murdered under the past dispensation. Again, I say that this is unprecedented because almost half of all lawyer murders happened in just the 6 years of the Duterte administration. Imagine 133 from 1972 to the end of the past administration. And yet 63, almost half, happened within that 6 years. One of such extrajudicial killings is the murder of my late brother, Attorney Rex Jasper M. Lopos, who was brutally killed while about to get inside his car at a parking lot of a mall in Tagum City in Davao del Norte last 13 March 2019. Attorney Rex Jasper M. Lopos was an active member of the Union of People's Lawyers in Mindanao, or UPLM. His litigation practice, however, heavily involved the criminal defense of persons accused of illegal drug use or illegal drug selling. As a result, during the brutal drug war, he became part of the statistics of personalities merely suspected of being involved in drugs, yet subjected to extrajudicial or summary killings. Tata Rex, as he was fondly known amongst his friends and our family, was just 41 years old when he was gunned down by, at that time, unidentified assailants when he was about to enter his pickup truck. Again, it was in the early evening of 13 March 2019. In his college years, Tata Rex was a student activist who rose to become the regional chair of the League of Filipino Students, or LFS. Thus, when he became a young lawyer, it was natural for him to join and be an active member of UPLM, and he proceeded to represent labor organizers and leaders, labor unions, farmers and farmers groups, and indigenous peoples as part of his human rights advocacy and people's lawyering. Attorney Tata Rex somehow in the course of his law practice became the go-to guy, quote unquote, of accused facing illegal drugs charges, almost entirely by word of mouth in Davao de Oro, our home province. This led to his being able to develop a litigation practice with many cases involving illegal drugs. I would say he was fairly successful in such practice. While there was a police investigation conducted over his murder, there were no significant findings from the PNP. Instead, it took our family, especially one of my brothers, to secure extensive copies of all the CCTV recordings from the mall management, the City Mall in Tagum City. And the CCTV recordings would show the events prior to his murder, during the actual shooting itself, and right after my brother was already shot and he already fell down on the ground. They probably did not know that there were more than 20 CCTV cameras all over the mall that captured what happened to him. Some fraternity brothers of ours who are also law enforcement officers helped in reviewing the footage from the mall CCTV system and arrived at an extremely important finding. Based on their initial findings, this is from our fraternity brothers who are also law enforcement officers, Tata Rex was a victim of rogue police units that wanted to profit from the reward system put in place by the former dispensation for law enforcement agencies under the brutal drug war. He was apparently placed on a list of high-value targets or HVTs. Those in such lists during this time in the past administration, whether or not the information or the basis for their being included in the list were veritable or unverified or even baseless and unfounded, they were in constant danger of EJKs. Being in such high-value target list, my brother, Attorney Rex Lopez, was supposedly assigned an amount for his head, and these rogue police units decided to cash in by assassinating him. Again, this bit of information was provided to us based on an unofficial investigation conducted by our fraternity brothers who are law enforcement officers. Their initial conclusion, again, that the killing of my late brother was state-sponsored in nature as it was undertaken by law enforcement officers. By the way, I already discussed this during the investigation of the Caravana lawyers, lawyers from the European Union affiliated with the International Association of Democratic Lawyers prior to the Quadcom hearings, prior to knowing that there were testimonies to the effect that there was indeed a reward system put in place during the Duterte drug war. So this information was relayed to me prior to knowledge that there are sworn testimonies proving that there was indeed a reward system during that time. Unfortunately, until as of even date, considering that the alleged suspects are still in active service, and the fact that a couple of months after the death of my brother, when we were actively investigating the case, I was subjected to several death threats over a course of 2 to 3 months. It was a harrowing experience on my part and my family. And for that reason, his immediate family, my sister-in-law, his widow, and his 3 children, has not commenced the filing of formal criminal and or administrative complaints against the suspected personalities, and I can understand why. But in some, the family of my late brother Tata Rex, Attorney Rex Jasper Lopez, concluded that his handling of criminal cases involving drug personalities contributed to his death. And personally, I have an in-depth knowledge of the initial death threats against my late brother. Last January 2019, in the early part of the month, as I can probably recall, the hearings in the courts just resumed after the Christmas and New Year break. I was stepping out of the Hall of Justice in RTC Branch 56 in Compostela, Davao de Oro. I received a call on my cellular phone from an unknown number. Although it was not my habit to answer calls from unknown numbers, a relative of mine texted me at that time also to answer a call coming from a concerned person. So I answered the call. That person would not reveal his true name and instead just requested me to listen and immediately possibly take action. The caller, the unnamed caller, told me over the phone that he was a police asset and that he was initially assigned to be the hitman or assassin to kill my brother, Attorney Rex Lopos. According to the caller, because Tata Rex was placed on the HVT list and carried a substantial amount of reward on his head, he was an active target. I pleaded that he will reveal his name or identity so that I can verify the information that he gave me. But he continued to refuse to reveal his name. And he continued instead to tell me that, Attorney, I actually, in vernacular, nibalibad ko nga dawato ng assignment. Kay nasayod ko nga si Tata Rex, maayong tao. In English, he refused to take the assignment to assassinate my late brother because from his very own words, Attorney Tata Rex was a good man. Maayong tao. That's what he told me. He added that I must convince my late brother to urgently have his name cleared with the PNP so that he will be removed from the HVT list. That call sent shivers down my spine because it came out of the blue. Why would somebody call me up to tell my brother and warn him that he was in a drug hit list? So I went to see my brother immediately. I had a long talk with him. But he was adamant in saying that if they want to charge me, then they have evidence against me. Charge me in court. Charge me in court if I'm involved in any drug activity. I told him that these are dangerous times. These are difficult times. 2016 to 2019, that was the height of the drug killings, the extrajudicial killings. He also refused, although we have a fraternity brother who is a ranking official in the PNP, and he was a good friend of his rather. I told him to go to our blood. Clear your name. Clear your name. This is very dangerous. But he was hard-headed and said that I'm a lawyer. I'm doing my job. So nothing came out of our discussion, although I really tried to convince him. We treated that as a serious death threat. And in fact, just 2 months after that call, that fateful call, my brother was EJK, was summarily killed. My late brother left behind a widow, his widow, and 3 young children. And the UPLM lost a people's lawyer whose heart was truly into human rights advocacy and a service to the marginalized in society. Just a few more seconds. Can I backtrack a little bit, Your Honors? There is also strong circumstantial evidence that my brother was killed as a result of his handling of drugs cases in court. In the early days of the Duterte administration, although I'm not anymore so sure as to the exact timeline, the exact date and the month that it happened, but during those initial days, several law enforcement officers, together with my best friend from high school, went to see me early in the morning in our residence and asked that we have an early morning meeting at Provincia restaurant in Davao City. That's the restaurant, eat all you can restaurant just behind Victoria Plaza Mall in Davao City. When I arrived there, I was no longer able to eat my breakfast because the law enforcement officers showed to me pictures of 2 cell phones where they supposedly found out that the name and contact information of my late brother, Attorney Rex, were recorded in those 2 cell phones. They told me that the cell phones were seized in an anti-drug operation somewhere in Davao de Oro. They argued that according to their evaluation and analysis, my late brother must have been connected with his drug personalities because his contact numbers are recorded in these cell phones. I countered that all I know is that he is a known go-to guy of arrested drug persons by word of mouth because he does not charge as much. Being a people's lawyer, he did not charge so much for drug suspects. Despite the fact that the going rate in Davao for drugs cases was as low as 200,000 per case, up to 500,000 in some other cases. Now, the law enforcement officers who talked to me argued that according to what they evaluated, my brother has somehow, according to their analysis, must be part already of the structure, the drug structure, because why is it that most of his cases are involved illegal drugs filed before the different courts? Why is it that most of his practice involved drug suspects? But I said, that's our work, that's our job as lawyers. And I asked them what they want me to do or what they expected from the information that they relayed to me. What should I do? And they answered that they just want that my brother will stop or cut whatever connections he has with drug personalities because they are starting to believe already that he might be involved in the structure of drug elements due to the extensive legal services he was rendering for arrested drug suspects. So I promised to talk to my brother. A big argument actually erupted again between me and my late brother as he was adamant that he is not connected with any drug structure, drug element, and that if the police have any evidence, they should have filed cases already in court against him. Thus, I believe that these are circumstantial evidence that the murder of my brother was state-sponsored, in the sense that law enforcement officers have already made up their mind that his defense of many drug suspects in court is more than enough proof that he is connected with drugs. My brother was no saint. I can admit that. However, his modest way of life and that of his family will prove that he has not handled any case for a known drug lord or big-time drug personality. Court records will also show that he has not handled any such drug cases involving alleged drug lords or big-time drug personalities. Instead, his clients were mainly petty drug users and petty drug pushers.
Kindly wrap up.
Yes. One final point, Mr. Chair, is another circumstantial evidence to back up the initial findings of our fraternity brothers, because months after the murder of Attorney Rex, they reached out to me again, asking for copies of the CCTV recordings of the killing of my brother. Because according to them, they were building a case against the same suspected rogue police unit out of another case where the victim survived an assassination attempt somewhere in Compostela, Davao de Oro. According to them, the modus operandi employed was practically similar to the killing of my brother. The color of the vehicle used, the make and the model of the vehicle, the attack using a sniper rifle, the bullet used, a 5.56 NATO round. There were also 2 or 3 lookouts used to follow the movement of the target. Those were exactly what happened to my late brother based on the CCTV recordings. My brother was killed with a 5.56 NATO round bullet, as shown in his autopsy. The bullet hit his spine initially and then blasted into smithereens his liver. It was a kill shot through and through, and he was not expected to survive that shot. So with these circumstances, it now shows that we can connect the dots and come to the conclusion that as a lawyer handling several criminal cases for drug suspects, my late brother, Attorney Rex Jasper M. Lopos, was definitely killed in the name of the brutal drug war. Thank you, Mr. President, Mr. Chairman.